Today's going to be a little two-part video, but we're looking at what is called vertex form. This is when a parabola is written like this. And the parent formula, or it kind of builds off of, looks like this, where there's an a value in front, there's an h in the bracket, and a k outside the bracket. So what we want to do here is figure out which each one of these does. Okay. The first thing we're going to start at is a. What does the a do to it? So right now I have a set to 1, okay? And when a is at 1, there's a step pattern that exists. And what a step pattern means is it's an easy way to graph a formula. Like there's a pattern that happens every time. So if you look here, if we go over 1, we go up 1. If we go over 1, the next step pattern is up 1, 2, 3. Over 1, up 5. 5. And it goes the same way on the negative side. Over 1, up 1. Over 1, up 3. Over 1, up 5. Then it'd be over 1, up 7 if I kept going. Okay? So that step pattern is going to come into play a little bit later on. But the first thing I want you to look what happens when the a becomes negative. So if I slip this to negative, watch what happens. It flips along the x-axis. Okay? It flips along the x-axis. So there's 1, which is standard. So if we go to negative, it points down. It opens down instead of up. Down instead of up. Okay? So that's number one thing you should note. If it's negative, it opens down. If it's positive, you open up. Up. Now, if we were to move this to 2, if you remember that step pattern we just talked about, 1, 3, 5, 7, 2 doubles that step pattern. So over 1, up 2 now. Okay, then last was 3, so it's going to be over 1. It's going to double, so it's going to be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then over 1, up 5 is going to be up 10. Okay, so the big thing you need to know here is if it's negative, it goes down. It opens down. If it's positive, it opens up. And then lastly, the step pattern is affected by whatever that number is. So next is the h value here. The h value moves it left and right. Okay, so it's a horizontal shift. Now one thing I want you to notice though, is I have this set at 2 right now. Okay, this h value. Let me add another graph here. Y equals 1, bracket x minus, let's put a plus 2 in here. And this is the exact same graph. But you notice I put a plus 2 in here. You would think that would move it to the right, but it actually moves it to the left. So when I put a plus 2 in here, it becomes a negative, because a negative times a positive is a negative. So I always remember this as in, it's in the bracket, which is the land of the opposite. So whenever we take anything out here, it switches signs. Okay? But this is our horizontal shift. Now if I put a negative 2 in here, that's going to line up with the other one. Just if I put a minus 5 here, it's going to move to the right 5. If I put a plus 3 in here, land of the opposite, it's not going to go right. It's going to go negative 3 left. Okay? You can see those different shifts. Positive 8 is actually 8 left, and land of the opposite is going to go minus 8. And just as a negative 6, instead of doing minus 6, you think it would go left. Nope, land to the opposite, it goes right. Let's move this back to 0. I'll take this one away for right now. Now if this does horizontal, it makes sense that this does vertical. Okay, so it shifts it left, up and down. Okay. And the reason it's called vertex form is it shows you where this vertex is, this point right here. Okay, so if I move this to 1, and I move this to 1, the vertex right there is at 1, 1. And if I were to move that to negative 3, let's say, now the vertex is 1, comma, negative 3. So the note you should be making right now is the A value either tells if it opens up or opens down. Then also it affects the step pattern. Either it's going to get skinny or wide. Okay. The H moves it left and right, but it's opposite, while the K moves it up and down. Okay. So now we're going to put in words here of everything we just did. So if I'm looking for the horizontal, let me put the parent one up here. Y equals A bracket x minus h squared plus k. So if I'm looking for the horizontal, I'm looking for the h value right here. Okay. Now the h value here is negative 2, but we know it's in the line of opposites, so it's just going to switch signs and be 2. Now my vertical shift is my k value, and that's 4. So now, since I have my horizontal and my vertical shift, I know my answer is 2, comma, 4. Okay. Now for if it opens up or opens down, we're looking to see if it's a negative A or a positive A. And if I look here, it's a positive one, so it's going to open up. And this here is my A value. What's my stretch or compress? That's this one here. So we're looking, and it's a 2. So that means I'm going to multiply all these numbers by 2. My step pattern of 1, 3, 5, 7. So 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 2 is 10, and 14. And there's my step pattern. We're not going to graph it right now. That's in a later lesson. This is the information we're trying to get out of every one of these equations. So let's do another one. So my original formula looks like this again. Oops. So let's do this formula. Y equals negative 4 bracket x minus 3 squared minus 2. So if I start here, my horizontal is my h value. Now it looks like negative 3, but remember, line of the opposite, so it's going to be 3. My vertical is my k value right here. So my k value in this case is negative 2, making my vertex be 3, comma, negative 2. And if we go on to, we could graph it here. We go 3 and there's my vertex, so that's where it's going to be. Now looking at if it goes up or down, I'm looking for a plus or a minus with my a value. Right here we have a minus. So that means it's going to go down. Okay. Then we're looking for a stretch or compression, so that's our A number. And what's my A number? My A number is negative 4. So to do my step pattern, I'm going to multiply everything below by negative 4. So it's going to be minus 4, minus 12, minus 20, minus 28. Okay? Let me just grab, I'm not going to grab that. I'll write it again. Let's do a couple more. So I have, I'm going to write my parent formula up here again. And let's write this one. Y equals x minus 3. Let's go plus 3 squared plus 4. Okay, if we start this over, horizontal is my h. Now it's the line of the opposite, so it's going to be minus 3. then my vertical is my k value, which is +4. So my vertex is now -3, 4. Now when it opens up or down, I'm looking for a plus or a minus on the a value. Right here it's not there, but remember we always write a 1 there. So it's going to be, it's a +1, so it's going to be up. And the stretch or compression factor, what number is in front of there? 1. So if we were doing anything, we times it by 1, but times by 1 doesn't change anything. Okay, so there's no new step pattern we have to worry about. Now if we wanted to graph this, we go -3 +4. So there is where our vertex is going to be. Let's do one last one. Let's go y equals 4x squared minus 2. Okay, horizontal. It's inside the brackets. There's nothing inside the brackets here, so there's going to be no horizontal change. My vertical is the plus number here, so it's going to be -2. So there's my vertex right there. Now if we're looking for open up or open down, is it a plus or a minus? It's a plus. So it's going to be open up, it's a +4. Now our stretch compression number is our a value here, which is 4. So we're going to multiply everything by 4. 4, 12, 20, and 28. Now if I wanted to sketch it, 0, -2, 0, -2. That's where it's going to be right there. Okay.